Imagine a scenario where you had the opportunity to live abroad in a few countries, absorbing their cultures and letting it impact your life. Now, imagine another scenario where you are an author and illustrator and you begin to publish a series of children's books. Now, imagine another scenario where you open a hipster cafe in the bubble tea capital of Malaysia. Now, imagine all these experiences happening to one person. And guess what? We'll be talking to her today lah. So welcome to Find the Real, where I believe everyone has a story. It doesn't matter what you do for a living, what your background is. I believe everyone has a story. And my objective is to curate these stories for entertainment purposes and hopefully also to inspire you to make your life better lah. Speaking of inspiring me, hopefully this person inspires me lah. You know, she got so many stories. So we've got Jamie with us today who'll be sharing her story. So Jamie, what's up? How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being on the podcast today.
No worries.
So today we'll be talking a little bit about your journey living abroad. Like you mentioned, you lived in the States for a bit, you were in Korea for a bit. Mm-hmm. We'll also be talking a little bit about your journey as an author and illustrator, where you wrote a series of children's books.
Right.
And we'll be talking a little bit about this new hipster cafe that you just opened as well.
Uh-huh.
Right. So Jamie, why don't we start a little bit with your background? You know, tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you grew up.
Right. So I am actually born in Kuantan, Pahang. My mom is a teacher, and then we go to the same school, the same elementary school.
Okay.
And growing up, all I know how to do is just go to school, take tuition classes.
Tuition.
Classes.
That is the Malaysian way lah.
Yes, very typical Malaysian upbringing.
Okay.
Extra classes, or what we call tuition classes in Malaysia.
Okay.
And yeah, go to sleep. Start the same routine the next day. That's how I grew up.
Okay.
Being a teacher's daughter. Yeah.
Okay, being a teacher. What did your mother was a teacher?
Yes,
so
my mother was a teacher.
What did she teach?
So my mom taught English and Malay subject to primary school students.
Okay.
Yeah, in Kuantan, yeah.
Okay. So, post like studying in school and living that, typical Malaysian student life.
Yes.
You then somehow or rather ended up, living abroad. Tell us a little bit about this journey.
Right. So basically, everything was kind of peachy, because I was really like a kid. So I just do what my mom and my dad asked me to do. So all the way until standard 6 or, elementary school, I was fine with it. Until I enter Form 1, which is secondary school in Malaysia already. Then I go to a different school. Then that's like a whole different experience. Then I realized it's still the same method, just harder subject. Like you still go to school, memorize the textbook, memorize everything.
Okay.
In Malaysia, we don't really, at least the education that I experience is not about understanding.
Yes, it's about memorizing.
It's about memorizing and test taking.
Yes.
So if you get good grades in your test, then you're a good student. If let's say you flunked your test, that means you're a bad student. That's how I remembered it growing up. And I was really lucky because I did a lot of extracurricular activities. So I was actually partially an athlete. I did taekwondo for years when I was in high school, in secondary school.
Okay, don't mess with this girl.
So I went out for like tournaments and MSSM. That was my highest level.
Wow, not bad, MSSM.
Yeah, so I went to Penang, different states for competition. And because I did a lot of taekwondo tournaments as well, and in school I did debates as well.
Okay.
So my school principal was like, hey, you speak English quite well for your age, so why don't you try out this exchange student program?
Okay.
Yeah, so that was actually with a foundation called AFS. So it's American Field Service.
Okay.
It's quite a big program in Malaysia for exchange students to go overseas.
Okay.
So my school principal recommended the project for me, or the program for me, and then I applied. And there's 3 types of program, I think. There were a 3 months, a half a year, and a 1 year program. So only 4 students in whole Malaysia get to go
and
for
selected
the 1 year program, and I was the lucky one.
Nice one.
So yeah, but the interesting thing about it is that you can only choose the country you want to go to.
Okay.
So 4 of us got chosen to go to America, to US. But we didn't get to choose what state we get to go. And I was this lucky, or so-called unlucky kid that got placed from a hot climate country in Alaska. So that's how my story overseas began.
Tell me a little bit about Alaska. All I know is cold and not many people.
Yes. So actually, the funny thing is, my mom specifically, she was really worried about me getting frostbites, having my toes fallen out, and things like that. Typical parents. But so I was really well prepared. I have all the long johns, wool socks, and everything. So I actually dressed up kind of like an Eskimo before I got off the plane. When I landed in Alaska and I get off the plane, everybody was looking at me like I was this really weird chicken that just walked into a village of ducks. So everybody was like, why is this girl so like thick clothing, like super cuddly like a polar bear? But everybody else was just in sweatshirts and jeans. It wasn't as cool as what people think.
Oh, so it's not that cold. It's not like -20 or whatever.
There are days in the winter, might be -50 even. But in general, like in the summer, their temperature is like 16 Celsius, sometimes 18.
It's okay.
So tolerable. People go out in t-shirts and jeans. They can still go ice fishing, that kind of thing. It's tolerable. Okay. But one thing that I definitely remember is the air in Alaska is just from like a whole nother planet. It's very fresh, very clean. You can barely like smell any pollution in their air there. That's for sure.
So how did you transition from the Malaysian education system at that time into the American system? So how old were you when you did this transfer program?
I was in high school. I think 15, 17, somewhere there. 15. Yeah. Okay. Really young in high school.
So which means that it's before your SPM.
Yes.
So which means you're doing the SATs instead of SPM.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about this transition.
So I mean, like when I go there, like I was actually quite confident because my mom is an English teacher. So I was like, it's gonna be piece of cake because my English is good enough. So I was quite confident until I had to write my first reading assignment.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you did it in your school in Malaysia, writing like a book report kind of thing. So basically in Malaysia, I did a book report as well. But what we do, we flipped over the book. We just copy the summary in the back of our book. That's our book report. At least that's what I did. But there in America, you have to actually read a novel in high school. Okay. And I remember the first novel that I ever read was actually American literature. It was Huckleberry Finn. Oh, okay. And it was really deep, really difficult language that I don't understand, and I have to write a book report on it.
As in Mark Twain, right?
Yes, like Mark Twain. Yeah. So I wrote the book report, and it came back all red because American English and British English, which we learn in Malaysia, British English, have different spelling.
Okay, spelling, yes.
Yeah, so all my spelling were wrong, and then my grammar was, messed up or jumbled up a little bit because I was transitioning from British English into American English. Then I was just like, oh God, maybe my English is not as good as I thought it would
so
be.
It was a humbling experience.
Yes, definitely. And then after that, what I remember was that we have like I think one novel to read every week. So I end up reading a whole lot. And then the school there also, like for example physics, I remember taking physics, and the teacher would give us an assignment or teach us a formula that would actually make us do experiment for it. I remember we were learning about weight and momentum and like speed, something in relation to that. And our project was actually a group project. The teacher gave us duct tape and cardboard boxes, and we have to calculate using the formula we learned in class to build a boat big enough and strong enough to hold two people to row across the school swimming pool and back.
You are kidding me.
No, that's how we learn in America. So if your boat sink in the middle, then I'm sorry, you didn't get an A. But if you go there and back, both people not wet, you got an A for your class.
This sounds like borderline child abuse to me. No, but I get it. You are applying, the principles that you're learning. Correct. Versus where in Malaysia where we study, we memorize the formulas, and then we just you still had to apply the formulas to the right situation, but you're using it for real life examples. Right. So that was the main difference you felt with it versus the Malaysian system.
Yeah, and then in Malaysia, right, I remember, because I have two younger brothers, and I felt like growing up, my brothers are much better at math and science than I am. I always thought I was this language kind of girl or art kind of girl, never science and math until I went to America, because we learned the formula and then we implemented
Okay.
into actual actions, and we can actually see the results, what we learn in class, whether we understand it or not. So it really helped. I actually liked going to school and become really nerdy, like to do a lot of like class projects and things like that. That's when I actually enjoyed the American education system, because it's much more about understanding instead of test taking and memorizing.
Got it. So here you are in Alaska. We're doing your SATs there, I'm assuming.
The SAT, it was okay, a little bit different. So in America, at least in Alaska, when I experienced it, when you're in high school, there's high school there is freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. So when you're in your junior year, you get to take like this free TOEFL test and a free SAT test. So every junior gets to take it. So if you were able to take those tests and you pass with flying colors, then basically it's like a pre-run for your senior year SAT, which is the actual SAT that you take for your college. Yeah.
Okay. So what happened next? So here you are. You know, you've done it, right?
Yes.
Assuming you've completed your SATs.
Yes.
I'm assuming you did okay for your SATs.
I did decent, I think, for a Malaysian in Alaska. I think I did pretty decent. I don't remember what was the score, but I think pretty okay. A little bit above average, I guess.
So what happened next?
So I decided that I wanted to stay in America for school.
Okay.
And I just stayed, and then I came back to Malaysia after high school. I did 1 semester of university, actually in Subang, SS15 at that time, I think. The Taylor ADP,
Taylor's ADP,
degree
yes.
program. Yeah.
Yes.
So I did 1 semester because my younger brother, he already registered in that program. He studied like I think something related to petroleum, so he wanted to go to America as well. So he was actually my Taylor senior already, because he started school earlier than me, and I was in Alaska. So I came back from Alaska and did 1 semester at Taylor ADP. Then I transferred all the way to Flagstaff, Arizona for college.
Yep. So
And just stay there the whole time.
so you went
Yeah.
from somewhere very cold called Alaska to a desert called Arizona.
Right? Yes. So Arizona, when you hear the word Arizona, everybody thought it's desert. There's cactus everywhere.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's another thing too. But that is only true if it's in Phoenix or Tucson. But I actually went to a place called Flagstaff.
Okay.
Flagstaff is actually a town above a mountain. So actually they have ski slopes there. There is a reason that I chose Flagstaff, because I get to snowboard, because I learned to snowboard when I was in Alaska, and I love snow. Like, I need to be in cold weather, so I applied to that school specifically because there's a ski resort nearby where I can go snowboard.
So what did you study in Flagstaff?
Actually, in Flagstaff, my degree that I first enrolled in was actually film production. That was my first major, because my dream, the American dream, was to become a film director. But then I decided that doing just film might not help me make some money once I graduated right away. Because
have you heard of Steven Spielberg?
Yes, but I felt like me and him is like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But so I decided that I would enroll in a second major, which is psychology.
Okay.
So I actually did, film and psychology.
All right.
Double
So
major.
here you are. Did your double major. I'm
Yes.
assuming passed with flying colors as well.
Decent.
Decent.
Yes.
Humility is there, decent.
Yeah, decent.
Any key memories that you had during your time in Arizona? I mean, in Flagstaff specifically?
Oh, a lot. Like I felt like, there are ups and downs in life, right? But in general, I felt like I'm one of the luckiest person seriously on the planet, because I have enough experience, probably worth a lifetime. Sometimes people up to their 80s didn't get to experience, what I experienced. Like, for example, in college, Flagstaff was just half an hour drive to the Grand Canyon. So every weekend, me and my college friends, we would go camp or watch the stars at Grand Canyon.
Such
eat
an
our
American
wings.
thing.
Yeah.
Let's go camping in the outdoors.
Get some sausages and just start throwing in the fire.
Yeah, I get it.
But we did have one kind of cool and unforgettable experience as well. We went camping nearby Grand Canyon. And we didn't check the weather forecast the night before.
Okay.
It was horrific because we had this huge tent. There were about 16 of us. It was like a really big camping kind of thing. And then we have a separate smaller tent where we store our food because there might be wild animals around. They might, attack us in our tent. But then we were kind of, talking and then playing card games inside the huge tent. Then it started hailing, like literally raining ice cubes.
Oh no.
And we have no shelter because we were in the middle of nowhere.
So did the hail go inside the tent?
It punctured the tent.
Aiyo.
There were holes everywhere. So we had to run to like the nearest gazebo and kind of find shelter there until it stopped hailing.
All right.
Definitely an experience you'll never forget. Yes.
Definitely lived more than one lifetime lah.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's the thing. You did Alaska, you did Arizona, you got your degree, and next on the cards is Korea, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that journey then.
So Korea was actually okay. So on my junior year in college in Arizona, I started taking a lot of foreign language classes.
Okay.
So in America, even in high school and college, they will ask you to take a foreign language, whether it be Spanish, Japanese, or whatever you choose for it to be. So I was also taking all the foreign language classes already at the same time, kind of into Korean culture as well, because that was the beginning of the Korean K-pop drama era. It's
Super
not as
Junior
crazy
and
as
all
right
that.
now yet. No, Super Junior didn't even exist yet. It was just the Korean drama, like Winter Sonata or something like that. Yeah, it was just that period of time. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll learn some Korean just for fun. Then because of that, I got into another college exchange program. Then I was placed in Seoul, South Korea for my exchange program. I went to this university, quite small. It's called Sogang University.
Okay. How long were you there?
I was there for a year.
Nice.
So I did my junior year in Korea. And also, one of the reason I applied to Korea instead of, actually, I was planning to go to France, either France or Korea. Because I wanted to, make my French fluent as well.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah, parlez-vous François.
Yeah, all I know is omelette du fromage,
Yeah. So I was deciding whether it's France or Korea, but because I was also thinking about my career path. Like I was passionate about being in the film industry. So I said Korea is the place to go because drama and
it's growing at that point.
It's growing at that point. So I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I can get a job secured.
Nice.
So I went there, and then I was really lucky. My film production teacher actually was an American professor from New York.
Okay.
So he was really hands-on with his students. He have taken me to the DMZ, shoot some war veteran documentaries and stuff. And I was lucky enough to spend my 1 year exchange program on my junior year of college, at the same time securing a job
nice.
with a TV station.
Okay.
It was called Arirang TV. So I got that job offered, and then I went back to Arizona, finished my senior year, graduated, went to Korea, started that, project with Arirang TV, because they were a brand new TV station at that time. They weren't even like broadcasting yet. So they were just building up a TV channel that was like, hey, we need someone to work for us.
So what was your role at that point in time?
Assistant director at that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about that job and how you did it?
It was my first job, so I felt like it is something that I really valued quite highly. It's like my baby, and it was a thing that I'm passionate about. But unfortunately, that experience wasn't a positive experience.
Oh, got it.
Because I was hired as an assistant director, but I did the camera position, I did the boom mic position, I have to hold the lights.
So basically, pao ka liao lah.
Yes, the whole package. Then I have to even arrange like celebrities with their managers to make all the shootings and everything. It
a
was
little bit stressful, I assume.
It was overworking and very underpaid. I remember getting paid $800 for 1 month's salary, but my rent was already $350. So I was like, that's not gonna work out. So yeah. Which explains why I didn't end up in the film industry actually.
Okay, so here you are, deciding that, hey, you know what, maybe this might not be my calling.
Right.
Then I remember somehow or other New York was in the cards after this.
Right. Okay. So that was another thing. So I ended up staying in Korea after I graduated college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Korea. I lived about a good 7 to 8 years in South Korea. So I've attempted multiple different type of jobs, actually.
Oh, okay. So after this assistant production job, you did assistant director job. You did a few other things as well.
Yes, I did a few other projects as well. And then after that, I went back to America because I felt like my Korean experience has ended. Like I've acquired a good amount of experience I needed from Korean culture. So I felt like America is still the culture that I wanted to be in, or maybe grow.
Speaking of culture, how different was the culture in Korea versus America and maybe Malaysia, for example? How would you differentiate those three cultures?
Right. I think all cultures have their differences, but I would say Korean culture is much more similar to Malaysian culture
Okay.
than to American culture.
Okay. In what sense?
So, for example, Korean culture is a little bit similar actually to Chinese culture.
Okay.
So they have their tea thing, like you serve tea to your elderly, that kind of thing, where Chinese people have it as well when they do it during their wedding. And then also Korean culture is a little bit much more restricted.
Okay.
Just like how Malaysia, my parents have a lot of rules for me growing up. Korean parents have that for their kids as
Similar.
well. Similar in that sense. But American culture, how can I say this? It's also similar to my family's upbringing, but I don't think for like Malaysian culture. So my parents growing up, I remember they always teach me, your action comes with a consequence. You need to earn your, whatever you want. Let's say you want to have extra pocket money, you have to do something to earn it. Like for example, washing the car or getting good grades, or there must be something to worth that action or that result. That is the culture that I learned in America as well. So like in Malaysia, I remember when I get into trouble, I would get like rotans from my teachers and that kind of thing. But in America, they don't do that. They would just tell you that it's not the right thing to do, and because you did something bad, then the consequences, you can't go out, like you're grounded, like you cannot meet your friends, you can't do things with freedom.
Yeah.
That is the kind of culture that I experienced.
Yeah. Consequence versus like immediate punishment.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I get it. So yeah, tell us a little bit about New York. So what happened then?
So I have friends, the people that I know back in New York. So I applied for a job there. I actually did some teaching as well when I was in Korea. Then I actually went to this course where I have to help out like kids do like public speaking, like English camp kind of thing. So I went there, and then I just ended up applying for a job and just stay there. Yeah, and just work
as a teacher.
As not really, more like a guidance counselor kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I also wanted to work in a hospital setting as well, because I wanted to be a child psychologist in a hospital as well.
And you've got a degree for it?
Yes, I actually did my master's degree for child psychology in South Korea.
Okay. So you're fully equipped.
I graduated my bachelor's in US, and I got my master's degree in South Korea.
So here you are, spending the better part of 10, 12 years living abroad?
15, close to 15
The better part
years,
of 15 years living abroad,
Yes.
right? What is the biggest challenge for you when it comes to being a Malaysian living abroad?
I think for me personally, I have two big challenges. One is I experience it in both America and in Korea, is that being a foreigner.
Okay.
Because when I go there, I wasn't given a working permit. You get what I mean? So there's that transition period where I need to be a legal worker or a legal citizen in US or in Korea. So I remember, like for example in Korea, even though it's much nearer to Malaysia than US, I have to exit in and out every 3 months. So every 90 days, but because my working visa wasn't processed yet, and I have to exit and come in again, and exit and come in again. So kind of burn through a little bit of my savings for that as well.
Got it.
That was the hard part. And then another part is, this actually only happens in Korea, was that even though I'm from Malaysia, maybe because my skin complexion is a little bit light, people would think I'm local Korean.
Of
Then
course.
they will speak local Korean accent to me. Then I'll be like, I don't understand.
But
what
you
that
do speak a
means.
little bit of Korean though, right?
I
You
am
took the
fluent
language.
now. I am fluent in Korean, but when I first went there to work, I wasn't fluent. I was just communicatable, like can communicate. But people would think I'm Korean. And then at one point, I did some, teaching. Then they asked me to dye my hair blonde. Then I was completely blonde. Everybody in Korea thought I was Russian. A bunch of people started speaking Russian to me. So that kind of culture. Like I felt like Malaysia doesn't really have like a distinct identity. Like Malaysian should look. Because we're Asian. Like Chinese Malaysian look Chinese. We can look like Korean.
You can look like this,
Or
you know.
So they don't know. Even if I tell them I'm from Malaysia, some of them they don't know what Malaysian culture is.
Yeah,
So
I
they
realize
can't really relate. You
Yeah,
know?
like when you're a Malaysian and you go outside, right? If you say you're Malaysian, and if you look Chinese, they'll be like, "But you're Chinese. How can you be
Yeah,
Malaysian?" The assumption
exactly.
is Malaysian is Malay,
Yes.
but that's not the case. I mean, we are a melting pot, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's the thing.
So you spoke about culture. So in the 16 years that you were out, right, out of Malaysia, how did it impact your perspective on life? Did somehow or rather living abroad open up your horizons? Make you a more creative person?
Right. Well, yeah. I wouldn't trade it for anything. If anyone or someone told me they'll pay me millions, if not even more money, for my experience, I wouldn't trade it. I would still choose to not have the money and have my life, because it basically built who I am today.
Yeah, I agree.
So, like, for example, I have told some of my close friends that I actually experienced a really big accident in my life. Like, I drowned.
Oh, yikes.
And I actually was in a coma for a while. And this happened in America.
Oh, no.
So, because of that incident overseas, I appreciate things in life so much more. Like, like you only get to live once.
Yeah, I agree.
So, a lot of people is always consistently planning how successful they want it to be. I personally, because I lived in America and had that personal experience, I felt like success comes when you put in your passion in what you do.
I agree.
And then I felt like, you don't know, you can plan for the next 5 years, but you might not wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
So doing the right thing for today, I think is the most important thing.
Living in the moment,
Yes,
right?
living in the moment.
Agree.
As long as you don't have any regrets for today, waking up tomorrow is like a bonus. You get to repeat, what you're doing. So I felt like it's very important. And also because of that incident, appreciate what you already have. Like, having your family with you, or your parents, or if you're married, you're dating, like appreciate your couple. All these things is so important, because you don't get a second chance to appreciate it.
Yeah, that is so inspirational,
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree. Like, your life is just a bunch of experiences that you have.
Correct.
Chase those experiences.
Yes.
I mean, being Asian, you tend to want to chase, paper success,
Yes.
corporate success, or whatever it is. But you're right. It's all about, having the right experiences to enrich your life. And I
Yes.
totally agree with living in the moment.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
And then, like you said, the success thing, because growing up, all I remember is just, I don't want to make my mom and dad disappointed at me. I need to be, I don't know, the next doctor, the next lawyer, or something or someone that makes a lot of money, get big houses. But after that incident, I was like, that's actually not what I want. The definition of success is defined by you, not by other people.
Exactly, dude.
So you define what kind of success you want in your life. Your success might be small, might be big, but that's up to you.
And that's your success.
Correct. Because whether you like it or not, whether you go through hardship, you have to be the one to survive it. People can define it all they want, but they're not the one that's going to go through the good and bad times with you.
Agreed.
They might be there by your side, maybe give you like a tap or hug if you need it, but they're not the one going through the hard time with you.
It's
Why would
you.
you want to let someone define your hard time and good times for you?
Agreed.
That's what I think.
So,
yeah.
speaking of your success, so here you are, 16 years out of the country,
Yes.
right? In New York,
Yeah.
being a counselor, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow or other, you ended up writing books.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey.
So The writing book project actually it started way like back when I was in Korea.
Okay.
I was in this. I actually did quite a lot of recording as well. So I was hired by this academy. It's actually a private Korean academy that wanted to teach their students English. Because Koreans they speak Korean, so they're not very good in English. So parents in Korea invest a lot of money on their children to be fluent in English. So I was on this team to build materials for little kids. And I like to read, I like to write. So I was like, hey, why not write children's book? So I get to actually work with like a graphic designer as well at that time. So we illustrated all these books that I published with Balangi as well. We did it together. So I know what character I want. So my book series, Incredible Animals, obviously animals. The characters are all animals, just different type of animals for each book. So then, for example, one of our book is a squirrel.
Okay.
So Sheldon is a squirrel that's forgetful. He always forget where he put his nuts. So I decided that that's the character I want. Then I start drawing like the character first, illustrate a squirrel.
So you illustrated this?
Yes, I draw the draft of it on like a, this Korean high-tech tablet, which I don't know how to use. It just looked like a squirrel skeleton.
All right.
Then we worked together, and then the graphic designer will help me tweak it a little bit.
So you had a team
here.
of people working with you?
No, just the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah. But that graphic designer, unfortunately, we started the project together, but he decided to leave the team. So I ended up doing the illustration on my own afterwards. But we started with one character first for each book. Then we were like, okay, so what can a squirrel that's forgetful do? What kind of story would this squirrel have? Then I kind of drafted multiple different pictures and kind of put them together to create like a page. And the storyline actually comes later. Okay. So I only have like a keyword, like key point, or like a tree house or something like this. Then I draw the picture, and then the storylines all comes later.
So here's the thing about storylines. I mean, I'm a dad, right? And I read to my kids as well. And the thing with children's books, I mean, it depends on the age of the child.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a picture book, but most of the time there's some sort of a messaging that you want to impart, some kind of a lesson.
Yes.
So how did you approach the storytelling process?
Right. So actually my children book series is a little bit deep, even for parents.
Okay.
The reason being because I was around or in the teaching field when I was in Korea.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of children being very spoiled because they're born with privileges these days, especially in this generation. So bullying is a really huge deal. If you look different, you get bullied. If you have any disability, you get bullied. Like, it's actually a society problem. Like, I can see in kids that are like 5 years old, and it's really serious. Like, they will actually cause physical harm to kids. Then that's not what I wanted to see. And plus I study child psychology as well, so I kind of invested a little bit of time into it. So if you were able to read through my book series, then you will see each character come with a shortcoming. Like, for example, Sheldon is forgetful.
Yeah.
Just because you're forgetful, I want the kid to know, because sometimes people are born being a forgetful person.
So you want that shortcoming to relate to whichever child or adult that reads it.
Or adult, correct. Then I want them to know, just because you're forgetful doesn't mean you get to treat badly by people. Doesn't mean you're a less of a person. You might be forgetful, but hey, you might be uber creative. You might be very good at art and do something with it. So I wanted to celebrate that just because you have a shortcoming doesn't mean you're not as worthy as other people in achieving what you want.
Got it.
So the story, each and every character, they have their shortcoming, but it talks about how they overcome their issues with their same animals or different animals. So it will also, like, for example, some of the animals they experience like being an outcast by the same breed. Then I would through my stories, I want the kids to know, when you are an outcast, you feel this way. It actually hurts if it makes you feel bad. So you don't want it to do the same kind of harm to other people, to
it's like the ugly duckling,
positive encouragement for kids so that they don't do that kind of harm to other people as well.
Okay. So these books are for what age group normally?
As long as you can start reading, actually. The age group that right now that I put in is actually like 3 to about 8 years old. because
Okay.
it's quite easy. It's not hard. So it's for early readers. Then they can read it.
It's a series of how many books?
Right now we have the first volume. We have 8 books. So
Okay.
book 1 to book 8.
Any plans for the future to expand to another series? Is that in the pipeline?
Definitely. But recently, as mentioned earlier, like I recently opened up a business. So after my business is much more settled down, then I do want it to start my volume number 2. Probably another 8 books.
Okay, so
for volume number
how's response for the book been so far?
It is actually all the marketing and all the selling and sales is done by
Pelangi?
Pelangi, my publisher. So Pelangi is taking care of everything. I do have this platform like Lazada, Shopee, and their Pelangi that I can check how many books are sold. I think decent, not huge like Harry Potter, but decent enough for a local Malaysian
If it's
book author.
if it's Harry Potter, I don't think I can get you on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, and you enjoy what you do. I can.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
I think this is just my personality. It doesn't matter. Like some people, they're okay with, climbing up the ladder, doing the same job the rest of their life. But I know I'm not that kind of person. I just put passion into everything I do, whether it be being an author, being a counselor, being, whatever it is. Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Now when it comes to book, I mean, I'm not an avid reader. I mean, I do enjoy reading.
Right.
I'm a little bit different. Like I like Roald Dahl. Now everyone thinks Roald Dahl writes children's books, right? But actually he has a compendium of short stories,
Yes.
and I love reading short stories.
Right.
Just 15, 20 pages, pop, and you're done with one. Just nice to put it down.
Yeah.
But here we are in this digital age, right, where everyone is either getting an ebook on their Kindle or whatever, right? How do you feel the role of paperback or paperback books? What is the role that they play right now in this digital age, and how has maybe the digital age evolved the world of writing and reading?
Right. So I think storyline wise, there's not much difference, even illustration, because things are so advanced. The picture actually looked much nicer even on a tablet. I was like, I didn't draw that picture, but it looks so much nicer because of the resolution and everything. But then again, it comes with the consequence as well. It's much more screen time because, like, for example, even my book series, because when I publish it, it's for the current generation or the next generation. So we also have ebook for it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do have ebook version for it as well. And I did notice that actually more people purchase the ebook version than the paperback version.
Is it priced similar?
The price is just, I think, 1 ringgit difference.
Okay,
1
okay.
ringgit cheaper or
Okay,
something because
okay.
it's in audio file. It comes with someone reading it,
So who's reading it?
and that someone was actually an AI. I tried to do it myself, but it was a little bit hard with, the recording, and it didn't work out. But there was an AI reading it as well. So yeah, for kids that don't know how to read, yeah, you can purchase the ebook and then someone would read for your kid. Mom and dad can take a break when they're reading the book, I guess.
Oh my god, that's genius.
Yeah.
I am so doing that after this.
Yeah.
All right, to all the parents out there, you can actually use AI to do diction. Let them
Yes.
read the book for you. You go drink your tea a little bit, let it read to your
Yes.
children.
Yes.
That is modern parenting 101. But my son will sound me lah, confirm. All right, so here you are on your journey as an author, right, and illustrator, right, looking forward for the second series.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about this other journey. I mean, you got so many hats that you're wearing lah, right?
I know, yeah.
So now you're on this journey as someone who has just opened a coffee shop
Correct,
in
a
Taipan,
cafe,
a
yeah.
cafe, right? Tell us a little bit about this cafe.
Well, it's quite a long story, but basically how my coffee journey started is because of my dad, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like, because I left home really young, I noticed that I get quite clingy to my parents these days at my age, which shouldn't happen. Usually people my age wanted to leave the house. But like my mom and dad plays a really big important part in my life. Like I share a coffee memory with my dad. My dad
okay.
loves coffee. He's an avid coffee fan. He's drinking a little bit less now that he's getting older. Need to sleep more. But I started drinking coffee with my dad, and then when I moved to America for school, everybody drinks coffee, especially when you need to stay up to do your, assignment.
Coffee culture is big over there, right?
It's huge. Like, for example, on my campus in Arizona, we have 3 Starbucks. There's a North Campus Starbucks, there's a South Campus Starbucks, and there's a Middle Campus Starbucks. It's like everywhere. Just Starbucks. We have Coffee Bean and other thing as well.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm a tea drinker, right? But I think with like coffee aficionados out there,
Right.
like Starbucks apparently is like not the creme de la creme. It's a little bit
Yes.
commercial, right?
Yes,
They're not
yeah.
using their own beans and roasting it themselves.
Right, correct.
But in America though, like everyone drinks Starbucks, I'm assuming, right?
Yes. Because like Starbucks, of course, you can't really convert it from US dollar into ringgit.
Of course.
The purchasing power locally, like Starbucks is
It's cheap.
considered as cheap coffee.
Got it.
It's affordable.
So it's pricing.
Yeah, so everybody, whether you're a student, you get it to go to class, drink coffee, go to work, you drive through, get Starbucks. It's easy access. So everybody drinks it. And my culture starts from my dad's local kopitiam coffee with my dad.
Yes, Hainan coffee.
Yes, Hainan coffee. Then it transitioned into Starbucks coffee because that's what I was around with. Never really ventured into Coffee Bean at that time. Then when I moved to Korea to work, and in Korea, one thing that I like about their culture is they have a lot of academies for different type of thing, whether it's be painting, cooking, roasting coffee, a lot of different type of things where you can just go take a class and learn something. So I felt like, after my day off, if let's say, I get off work, I still have about 8 hours before I go to bed. What am I going to do for that 8 hours? I don't want to sleep 8 hours. So I decided to take 1 or 2 hour class. And I started to get into coffee. Then I learned the aroma of different type of coffee bean. Like, for example, Guatemala bean smells a certain scent. Colombian bean smells a certain scent. So then I was like, hey, this is actually quite nice. Then I ventured into learning how to roast it. And then starting to learn how, like for example, like Starbucks, Americano, latte, and mocha, the basic common ones. What are the ratio of milk, ratio of coffee in it, things like that. Then I started getting really into it. And then in New York, during my adult life, I'm around bartenders all the time, actually. So, I also get to experience making cocktails as well. But ultimately, I felt like, if I do something that relates to alcohol, maybe I'm encouraging people to do bad things as well, under the influence of alcohol. And I decided that coffee would be the thing, which explains this path. This journey of, opening a coffee shop.
So tell me a little bit about your cafe.
So my cafe is called Novo Mondo.
Novo Mondo, okay.
Yes, Novo Mondo is Latin word for new world.
Okay.
So this actually is a little bit like personal, because to me, a new world these days, you see people from all sorts of culture. Even in Malaysia, it's no longer Malay, Chinese, and Indian. You see people from Bangladesh, you see people from Africa, Canada, Australia, everywhere. So I felt like new world means everybody from every sorts of culture can enjoy different type of food at one place.
Okay.
So that's what our cafe is. So we have local food.
Okay.
We have Western food. Western, we even have American, Italian, French, all this. It's all
such a big
combined.
menu.
Yeah, it's not like huge as in there's like 10 American dishes. We have a few dishes, but I wanted to provide a platform or a place where people can experience different culture together. Because sometimes, let's say you have a friend gathering, you might have Indian friends in it, you might have Chinese friends in it, but they might want different things. Like for example, the Chinese, they might want it to eat, I don't know, let's say mama. But the Indian guy might want Chinese fried rice. But you can't go to one restaurant. Let's say if you go to Chinese restaurant, you can only eat Chinese food. But I wanted to provide a place where they can enjoy our specialty coffee and also our food. That's why I name it New World.
Okay.
Novo Mondo.
So tell me a little bit about the menu, right? So you've got foods from around the world, and you focus on coffee as well.
Yes.
So like, what is currently like your top seller?
So, okay, like coffee-wise, currently we are providing Ethiopian coffee beans and Guatemala beans.
Okay.
So if you like something a little bit light with more fragrant in it, then Ethiopian is the bean that you wanted to, go for. But I personally like my coffee black, like really bitter. I always go for double shot, if not even triple sometimes. So I prefer the Guatemala because it has a bitter aftertaste.
Okay.
So it makes me feel like, oh, I actually drank coffee. Ethiopian is good, but it's a little bit milder. So for people that are not super avid or strong coffee drinker, Ethiopian is the bean that you wanted to go to.
Have you ever explored like the local beans from Moa, Kluang, or anything like that?
Yes, I have tried those as well. But how can I say? I felt like there's a big enough market already.
Oh, okay.
A lot of
Got
different
it, got
cafe already use local beans.
Especially your local kopitiams are already
Correct,
using
yes.
local beans.
So I felt like I probably won't be in the same league, opening a new business, competing with
Understood.
the experts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I decided to go for specialty coffee.
All right.
And food-wise, our local food, like for example, we have nasi lemak. Our nasi lemak is a special recipe that comes from my mother, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can't get it anywhere. I'm sure in Malaysia, even the Sabah or Sarawak, you can't get it.
Okay.
It's a house recipe,
Well
home
done
recipe.
lah.
Yeah, and then we have also like asam pedas fish as well. Our local fish and local rice dishes are really popular. And then our pasta, our Italian pasta are local Italian recipe.
Okay.
So our chef did a fantastic job.
So where did you get these recipes though?
Right. So all these recipes are from all the experience I accumulated over the years. Because I have, been in America. Like actually my first boyfriend is Italian. So, through that I got some Italian influence as well. So all this, I combined everything that I have experienced into my coffee
Oh, so
shop.
you cook as well?
I love to cook.
Oh.
I'm not really a chef level kind of cook, but I think cooking is fun when I realize how happy people can
Yes.
feel when they eat something nice.
Yeah.
You can see sometimes like when I invite friends over for dinner or lunch, they had like a really long day, or they might just got fired from work or something, and they tasted my food, then it brings up their smile
Yeah.
instead of being gloomy. Then it makes you, hey, I really like to cook.
I know that feeling. I just started cooking during MCO,
Right.
So I know I picked it up. I learned things on YouTube, and I've got like one or two go-to dishes, right? And
Yeah.
I remember I've got this one Chinese chicken that I do,
Right.
And when my son comes up to me and he says, "Dada, I want to eat your chicken,"
Yeah.
like that feeling, right?
So
It's like,
heartwarming,
oh my
right?
God, you
Yeah.
want to eat my nonsense chicken? Okay, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. I get that. So tell me a little bit more about the cafe. Like, how long have you guys been open? What's the location exactly?
Right. So it's actually located in Taipan, Subang Jaya.
Okay.
So it is actually across from Starbucks in
Oh, I know.
Taipan.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's located also one floor above Kopitiam. It's called Kau Kau Pak Kopi. It's like
Okay.
one floor above. So we already have enough coffee competitors.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
across is Starbucks, a huge chain, and then downstairs is like a local kopitiam. But I personally think we have our own specialty as well, because we're serving specialty coffee, different from local kopitiam coffee,
Got it,
different
got
from
it, got it.
Starbucks.
Got it.
And our food is pretty good. Pretty
Okay.
different from everything. And then we have only been open for about a month and a half.
Oh, still very new.
Very new coffee. So there are days that it's kind of slow because people still don't know where we are. We're still in our marketing process, doing things on Instagram, TikTok, social media. And then there are days that we're busy, like weekends sometimes even weekdays. We get like a lunch rush because there's so many offices there as well. And about 2-3 weeks ago, we were lucky enough to book like an event. There was a music
nice.
academy. They actually have a guest from Brazil. They came over and then they wanted to play Portuguese music. So they played like bossa nova
nice,
and
man.
samba music. So they have this live performance there, kind of like a string quartet. Someone playing like the guitar, violin, someone playing the saxophone.
So you got a sound system, everything sorted out.
No, actually, we have our built-in like speakers.
Okay,
But
okay.
this event people, they bring in their whole
Got it.
up, and they just said we just need your space, and everybody will order your food and coffee. And I'm like, great, why not? So it was full house, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, let's hopefully get more days like that for your business,
correct.
right?
Yes, yeah.
What are the plans for the future of the cafe?
Definitely. I think right now we are, since we are brand new, not a lot of people know about it yet. So we'll probably do a lot more events.
Okay.
And then focus on our marketing to get more people to dine in. And then we will also probably bring in things like catering, because our local local food is quite easy to pack up and then do catering as well.
Okay.
So things like
I'm a Assam fish fan.
Yes.
And I will drop by for the Assam fish and I will tell you to your face.
Okay.
If it's good, I will give you
feel
2
free,
thumbs up.
honest feedback. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, Jamie, thank you. I think
Yeah.
today we learned a little bit. We learned a little bit about, your life abroad, staying 16 years in the States,
Yeah.
in Korea as
Yeah.
well. Going through a near-death experience, changing your mindset on life.
Right.
The importance of living in the moment. We spoke about you as an author, illustrator, writing children's books, and looking forward for the second series of that.
Right.
And we also spoke about the cafe.
Right.
And, I pray for nothing but the best for
Thanks.
your cafe moving forward.
Thank you.
So before we end, I normally have a segment where we
Okay.
call it the fun stuff.
Right.
I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
All right. So if I open your Spotify right now,
Uh-huh.
all right, what are the 3 top songs or bands that is currently on your rotation, or your playlist?
Right. I go through this phase. Sometimes I listen to just band music. Sometimes I listen to just songs.
Okay.
Currently, it's just like songs. Number 1 is, I think it was the Maverick movie,
Okay.
the Top Gun. What was that song? I think it's by One Direction or something.
Okay,
I
okay.
Ain't Worried or something like that.
Okay.
The second one is a Korean song, actually sang by a local artist, because it's kind of romantic, girly kind of music. And then the third one is Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh man, you can't go wrong with Queen.
I love Queens. I'm an avid Queen fan.
Okay, I'll tell you what. There's actually a Queen cover band coming to Malaysia, if I'm not
Really?
mistaken. Yes, it will be it'll be before this is aired lah, right? It'll be
okay.
somewhere in September. Check it out.
Yes,
Right? It's
okay.
at Zep KL. I'm definitely going.
okay.
Yeah, so check it out.
Right.
It's going to be awesome.
Cool,
right?
cool. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say if you could have dinner and drinks with any 3 people, dead or alive,
Right.
who would it be, and what would you talk about?
There's a lot of people that I would like to eat dinner, but if I have to choose 3, number 1, probably my parents,
Oh,
because
okay.
I don't see them often.
Oh yeah, 16 years abroad,
Yes, I don't see them often enough. Even if I meet them every day, I still felt like I didn't get to make up for the lost time. So with my parents, if I get a chance to, when I'm not busy working.
Aww.
And then second, I would say the lady, actually, she passed away already, but the lady that saved me from drowning. Like, if she didn't pull me up from the lake that I drowned in, I wouldn't be here.
Yikes.
So, yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately, she's no longer with us,
Okay,
but I'm
okay.
sure she's in a better place. But if I get to choose, I would eat lunch or dinner with her, so that we can catch up. Yeah. Third one, someone famous, also not here. Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, man, Robin Williams. So sad what happened.
Yes.
Someone so joyful.
Correct.
To end the way he ended.
Yes, because growing up, whether it be Jumanji or some even
Mrs.
quirky
Doubtfire.
music, Mrs. Doubtfire, exactly. And then even like, what was the newest one? Night in the Museum.
Yes,
he was
yes,
one
yes.
of the guys.
One of the characters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I felt like being able to dine or share a meal with Robin Williams would be really fun, because he's so humorous and his character is always so out there. And I felt it would be a really enjoyable meal.
Nice. So, what would your advice be for anyone out there who's kind of looking at, maybe writing a book or opening a cafe? What
Yes.
advice would you give anyone out there?
Right. Ultimately, dreams are just dreams
Okay.
until you take that first action. If you have a dream, think about it. Don't think too much about it. Think about it as in, like, okay, let's say I wanted to be an author. Can I draw? Can I write? Can I illustrate? If you can, just take the first step, approach an illustrator. If you can't draw, draft out your stories, start something. You can't have a dream and not have an action. Then it'll just be a dream. So putting your action into chasing after your dream is the most important thing. Thinking too much will only delay it so much more later. Then you will say, oh, my time is up, like, I already passed this age, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you just didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it.
Don't
Yes.
just leave it on pen and paper.
Correct.
Do the first action that will get you moving. Do
Yes.
it. I
And
agree.
once you started doing it, second most important thing will be passion. Because I felt like if you don't put passion in what you learn, you will feel like you're studying. If you don't put passion in your work, you feel like you're going to work.
Yeah.
But if you put passion in studying, you're learning. If you put passion in going to work, you are improving yourself, building your character, building your experience, and getting paid. Salary is just a bonus.
Yeah, and you are enjoying what you're doing.
And
I
you
agree.
feel like, oh my gosh, I get Monday blues. I don't get Monday blues because I put passion in what I do.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, so let's just say if you've got anyone out there who wants to connect with you on two aspects. One, when it comes to the book, if people are interested to get the book, where can we get the book?
Right.
And if people who are interested to find out more about your cafe,
Right.
how can they connect with you?
Right. So they can actually connect with me through Instagram, for example. My personal Instagram I can share with you guys is JSY Nicole, Nicole. So they can DM me or send me a message there.
Okay.
Or they can also find for my book Incredible Animals. So that is also an Instagram page as well, just for the book. So you can pre-order that as well. Or you can look up on Pelangi website and type in Incredible Animals series, then you will see it. Or you can just Googled on Lazada, Shopee, you can purchase it there as well. And for the cafe, you can also follow me on Instagram, and then you know on Google you can find my Google page as well for Novo Mundo, which is in Subang Taipan as well. Then you can also see us on Facebook. You can also see us on this Chinese app called Xiaohongshu as well. Yeah, so
You got it covered, right?
Yes,
we'll add all the links there.
Yes.
Honestly, Jamie, thank you so much for
No
being
worries.
a part of this episode. It's been enlightening for me. It's been quite inspirational as well.
Thanks.
You know, I mean, hearing that story about that near-death experience, right, really made me think a little bit as well. It is about living in the moment. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Correct.
All right, so thank you for being here for the show.
Yeah.
And to everyone out there, here's another episode of Find the Real, where I believe everyone has a story, and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.